Hi YouTube, it's Robin, and I haven't been around for a while, but we were moving and a whole bunch of craziness. I wanted to talk a little bit about my history and my present, and then I'll do a few videos about my future and what I've got planned for as far as what I'm doing with my diet and with exercise and stuff. 8 years ago, on February of 2005, I had a gastric bypass. I was 315 pounds at that time, and I lost down to, I was 175, I believe, at my lowest weight. My arbitrary number I picked out of my head when I started losing weight was 175, and my doctor had given me a goal of 160 based on the BMI charts, which are, you know, normal, but they're not one size fits all. But I have a very large frame, so when I got to 187, I looked actually really good. So I was pretty happy with where I was, and I had a paniculectomy, which is the skin removal off the stomach, and I had a breast lift and reduction. Before I got married, I met my in-laws, and I was trying to make them like me, and my mother-in-law and I were not necessarily, you know, peppy at first, so, but I was trying, you know, in those way we would do, to make her like me. So I was, you know, eating what they eat, and I was drinking with them, and so I would be drinking White Russians because it was just about the only drink I could drink that wouldn't hurt my stomach. But it's got a lot of milk, it's got Kahlua, it's got rum, it's a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, and you know, it's drinking a lot of calories. So I was drinking my calories. I was eating. We went out to a lot of buffets. They really like buffets at that time, and so I would go out there with them, and they would tell me, oh, well, you know, we feel so bad eating, you know, we feel like pigs when you just eat this tiny little bit, and we eat a lot. And so I would try to kind of, over the course of the time that they were eating, rather than just eat my little bit and be done, I would try to kind of add in more things and eat a little more over the course of the meal. So that was bad too. But so I gained about 10 pounds, but then I was exercising and I lost part of it. I think I lost a couple of pounds, like maybe 5. I can't remember exactly now. But then I got pregnant, and so so then I ended up gaining up to 218. So it ended up being when I got pregnant with my son, I think I was somewhere around 200 pounds. I might have been 195 when I got pregnant with him, from the kind of bounce up and down that I had done. And I gained an immediate 10 pounds of, you know, just water weight and baby. Not much baby in the beginning, just pretty much water weight. And then ended up gaining 18 pounds over the course of the pregnancy. When I had my son, I lost 18 pounds right away. So I was back basically to my start point. I was 200 pounds. And I'm sure I could have gotten that off, but my son was 3 months premature. And so trying to be a good mom, since I hadn't been able to carry him to term, I had a lot of guilt. And so trying to be a good mom, I went ahead and said, okay, well, you know, I'm going to breastfeed him. But I had the reduction, so I couldn't really make a whole lot of milk. Nurses kept telling me, oh, well, you know, you just have to drink water and eat food, and, you know, don't try to reduce anything, and take this stuff called fenugreek, which will help you to increase your milk supply. What they didn't tell me, and I didn't learn until after I had my daughter, was that fenugreek is used to make elderly gain 4 pounds a week. So when I started gaining, I started to try to diet back the way that I knew I should be eating, and kind of pull back on what I was doing. And I mentioned this to one of the nurses, and she said, oh, don't do that, you'll lose your milk supply, and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and you want to, you know, you want to make milk for your baby, don't you, and all this kind of stuff. And so so because I was feeling so guilty, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to keep going, you know, milk supply is going to go, and it's going to all be good, and, you know, all that. So I kept taking the fenugreek because I didn't know any better at the time, and I kept eating at the rate that I had been eating, and so I gained 34 pounds. 34 pounds? Up to 234 pounds. That was not good. But so then my son came home, and I said, okay, you know, I can't, you know, I can't breastfeed him anymore because it's just not, I wasn't making more than a few drops of milk at that point. I was 234, and my weight was stable. and that was in '08. I have PCOS, and the funny joke of PCOS is you have a hard time getting pregnant, but if you lose some weight, you get pregnant right away because you ovulate, and so, you know, naturally, if you're active, you will get pregnant. So, I started working out to try and lose the weight that I had gained with my son. It was time, you know, he was old enough now at that point to, you know, to be able to deal with himself a little bit so that I could focus on myself a little more and lose the weight. So, I worked out and lost about 11 or 12 pounds, something like that. Maybe it was a little less, but it was a pretty good chunk. A lot of it was water weight, I'm sure, and then, you know, some weight, some actual weight. And once again, got pregnant. So with my daughter, I was on bed rest most of my pregnancy. I was in and out of the hospital with preterm labor. I was getting constantly tested to make sure that I wasn't having contractions and stuff like that. And then I ended up developing gestational diabetes. So by the time I had my daughter and everything, I was up in the 270s, and I'm not quite sure exactly where I was. I was pretty close, I think, to 280, and I just kind of, I think I've blocked out all the numbers just to make it pretty. So I'm sure I lost some of that because my highest weight when I started to try again and said, okay, you know what, it's time to lose it, my daughter was getting old enough, about 269. So I started working out, and you know, really I did it like I had never had bypass. I did Weight Watchers and worked out 3 times a day for an hour a time, Zumba twice. And if any of you know Zumba, that's a pretty high calorie burn and very hard work to do, you know, 2 hours a day. And then we would also take our walk in the evening. A lot of times I would do a walk and then run, and then walk and then run, or I would push the kids in the stroller up the hill so that you know, I would burn more calories. So I was losing weight, and I lost it pretty fast, but it was all being done not the right way, and so it was I was taking more work than I had strength for. And then the stress started to pile up. We had some additional stresses added onto us, and then we ended up moving. I have to get the rest of this off and get myself back down at least to where I was before I had my son. If not, hopefully get to my lowest weight, and if not, maybe even lower than that, maybe down to the weight I or my doctor set for me, depending on where I feel comfortable, because I'm not one of those kind of people that's a slave to the scale where I've got to weigh this number, I've got to wear a size 8. You know, I'm pretty happy. I was happy in my 12s, and I looked good in my 12s, and, you know, I'm curvy, and I have a big frame, and I don't think, you know, with a 7.5-inch wrist, I don't think I'm ever going to wear a size 2. So, unless I decide to, like, chop myself in half or something. But I'm okay with that. That's good with me. But, anyways, so 2 weeks ago, I decided that I was going to go ahead and look up the right way that I should do this as a bypass patient. And so what I did was looked on the internet. I found the 5-day pouch test. I did not do the 5-day pouch test simply because I don't think I really need it. I think the restriction is there right now. I think I just need to use it. And I know I was snacking a lot. I've been in the habit, because you get in the habit after a pregnancy of, you know, having to eat more calories and having to eat more often throughout the day. With my son, I was very good. I only added fruit in my diet. With my daughter, I started to add a little bit of sugary stuff, some fats, a lot more carbs, simply because I had other people cooking for me. I was on bed rest. I couldn't get my own stuff. I ate what I was given. People tried really hard not to be giving me sweets or too much fat or anything like that. They did a great job, and they were very, very helpful, and I appreciate that so much. But it wasn't exactly what I would have made for myself, you know? I mean, every bypass patient knows that, you know, you don't go to a restaurant and expect that you're going to get the same level of healthy food, even if it's a healthy food restaurant, that you would get at home. You know, you can't buy a bag of frozen chopped chicken, even if it's grilled, even if it's low fat. You can't buy that and expect it to be the same as if you cooked it yourself, because there'll be more sodium, there'll be more, you know, just all sorts of things in there that you would not put in yourself. So when I started looking at this again, I decided to do the rules of the pouch, which I'll talk about in my next video talking about my new diet. But and I decided that I was going to exercise 2 to 3 times a day, but I wasn't going to do what I did with the Zumba and burn myself out, because, you know, granted, I lost a good chunk of weight and I have not gained that chunk of weight back. But I don't want to keep going like on this short spurt of fast down in an unhealthy way and then, you know, sit and then do it again, because eventually I think my body will probably get mad at me over that. So basically now I'm, you know, I'm working out 2 to 3 times a day, but I only make myself do at least 10 to 30 minutes. I have on my phone, which is not in here, I have an app called Lose It, and it calculates all my food and my exercise and stuff like that. So that's basically what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to start, you know, trying to get on here and make myself accountable. I'm not always going to make sure I've got my makeup on, because I think that was a part of what burned me out the last time, because I was trying to do all sorts of fun stuff, and I wanted to do the videos about beauty, and I wanted to do the videos about, you know, the weight loss, and, you know, I wasn't getting as much writing in as I like to, because I'm a writer, and it's just kind of one of those things, anyone who's a writer will understand, it's your stress relief. And so I was just getting very, very stressed. But so I'm not always going to make sure I look beautiful, but I'm sure you guys will forgive me for a bad hair day or two, or, you know, no makeup on sometimes, whatever. Good to be back, and I hope to be able to check all your videos out. And you know, if you haven't subscribed to me, rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, so that I can meet you and know you and check out your channel. Okay, thanks.